Whether you're a lifelong keeper or just getting started, help us encourage responsible keeping, conservation, and public education in the interest of keeping our reptiles safe and healthy as we protect them for future generations. You're invited to spend time with us as we experience these awesome animals together on Intrepid Exotics. Hey, what's up? I made it. Finally. Guess what's not on my eye that was on my eye last time? I finally figured out how to make the little aiming reticle over my eye go away. And I'm really happy about that. It took me until just now to figure it out. So I was hoping I'd be able to get it figured out before we got on. And I did. So we're all good. I think we're all good. Oh, man. This is the last one of the year, guys. Last one of the year. It's been busy. Let's see who all's on. Carla, hello. Yep, tomorrow's time to feed all mine. Bosa, what's going on? Pam, Sam, Laura. I know your name and I keep forgetting it, and I feel like a complete dirtbag every time I do. So please type it down there again and smack me in the head till I get it right. Hey Nicole, how you doing? Heidi's in. Snakes are all good. Oh, let's see. Hey, how are ya? Erica made it. Jay is here. And me Mutter is in the house. Hello, how are ya? Oh, okay. So I can finally sit down and breathe. I didn't even get a chance to fill up my coffee cup before I came up here. So we're going to definitely be taking a break at some point for some coffee. So one thing I do want to know real quick is if the video is looking smooth to you guys. Like I said, I played with a whole bunch of settings on this thing a little bit ago, and it's really kind of hard for me to tell. So, because of course the StreamYard's going at one pace, and I've got the YouTube channel up here so I can see it, but there's a delay and it's all weird. So yeah, if you guys can let me know if there's anything freaked out about that, then we can definitely go about checking that out. Okay, cool. All right. So for those of you guys that haven't seen yet, we got a new snake here recently, the Jaguar. It is we've had a couple of alerts coming through out here. I'm not 100% sure what they were. Seemed like they were pretty important, but we will look at all that stuff later. Hey, Nikki, how you doing? Where you at? Jenny's here. Good to see ya. Hello, Kai. Seen a couple kind of almost new faces coming in. That's good to see. I always like to see more folks jumping in. Okay. I'm really much on the fence here. I'm going to talk for a couple minutes, and then I am going to scoop my butt in there and fill up a cup of coffee because it's been a crazy busy day. And it seems like these long weekends are always, you think you got all this extra time that you're not at your regular job. But then by the time you get everything done, you're like, damn, where'd that day go? Oh my God, it's 8 o'clock already. We got to do this. But, okay. Yeah, it's hard to tell if there's a, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we'll continue to work on this and tweak this stuff out. it's kind of unfortunate because I've got the choice of either a wireless connection or the HDMI on here, and they've both got pros and cons to them. So it's all just a matter of trial and error. As long as you guys are good with it and everything looks like it makes sense, then we're good. So, but man, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of stuff that's gone on this past year. I was sitting there looking over all of the excuse me, looking over all the channel statistics and stuff like that since I started the channel in October of 2021. So I've got stats for 21, 22, and now 23. Barring tomorrow, of course. But I'm going to share that with you guys just to kind of let you see exactly what the what the YouTube analytics from the creators side of it looks like. What we're looking at, as far as subscribers and growth and revenue and all that other stuff. We're still in the red when I compare the expenses to the YouTube revenue over the life of the channel, but we'll see. It's getting there. It's one thing that's really cool about this is all we got to do is increase the subscriber count and the view count and get more people involved. And it doesn't cost any of them anything. They just sit down, watch some videos, and it helps build everything. And it helps offset the cost of a lot of this stuff. So that's a really good thing. But it is kind of cool to see how the growth kind of goes as we progress over the years. And if you guys hadn't seen it, we did the Retic Lounge that released Friday morning, I think it was. So if you guys haven't checked out the guys at the Retic Lounge yet, Lucas and Nathan, they've got some interesting folks on there. They've got a really cool professional podcast set up. Really good guys to follow. So I know somebody can throw the Retic Lounge's link down there for me, or I can do it. Let me figure out which monitor I want to do this on. Have my little command center set up here. But I do want to drop their link down there so you guys can check it out. I've been trying to coordinate and get them on here with us for like 6 or 7 months, man. It's insane. Our schedules never line up. They're out west. I'm out east. Let's see. Get this link dropped here. There you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, that helps a whole lot. Judd, it is. That'll help me remember. I'm terrible with names when I meet somebody in person. I'm even worse with names when it comes to online and all that neat stuff. I will get it at some point. Jenny says the most educational channel about reptiles. Really hope the channel blows up. It will. It will. I appreciate that. Always appreciate the kind words. And we kind of talked about that a little bit with Lucas and Nathan about how it's kind of a slow roll up when you're doing stuff like stuff that's educational, stuff that, if people don't have snakes, I do have some non-keepers that watch stuff like that. But I mean, unless you're really trying to figure out snakes and stuff like that, and you're genuinely got an interest in that, then I think the educational part of it, not for everybody. So I don't know. There's, like I said, I'm going to find a way to grow the channel that doesn't involve doing the prehistoric pets thing, or doing anything sensationalist. That's kind of what I need to start doing is watching more Snake Discovery and seeing, the kind of stuff that they put out, because they've always done really wholesome educational stuff and things like that. Never been clickbaity or anything. So I appreciate that. Oh yeah, and don't forget, That's the Retake Lounge. Follow them guys, help them out. They're doing pretty good. They just rolled 1,000 subs here not too long ago. So, Jordan, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Talk about feeding size when you start getting into several pound rabbits. 7 foot, 2 pounds, 9 foot. Yeah. Yep, we can certainly get into that. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and pause right there because I think that's a pretty good topic to hit really quick. I'm going to go in there and get some coffee because if I don't, I'm going to be slurring my words here in a little bit. So give me about 30 seconds. Okay. All's right with the world now. That's one thing about me. I'm an addict. I cannot function properly without the proper amount of caffeine in my system. Oh. Yeah, thank you, Jordan. Yeah, it was a pretty good talk. It was a pretty good talk. Like I said, the guys, the Retake Lounge guys, and Lucas and I have been talking forever. And we've just never been able to get anything coordinated. We almost didn't get that one coordinated because we didn't record that one until I want to say it was like 11 o'clock that night. Their schedule just puts them doing all their recording like late at night. And I'm an old homebody now who's got to get up early. So I try and go to bed early. So it's taken a little while. But it was a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing that stuff. Oh, yeah. See, got so much stuff rolling through my head. I forgot about this. So typically, see, this is the thing that I've found makes it real easy to take the guesswork out of feeding bigger snakes. And I mean, after you've done it long enough, you just kind of instinctively you look at the animal and you know what size to feed them. But a pretty good rule of thumb is 10% of the snake's body weight. You get on, you weigh your snake, you find out how much it is, you weigh the prey items and just kind of mark it on them. If you're talking about something like large jumbo rats and stuff like that, they're all going to be pretty similar. I get a lot of different size rabbits. I get rabbits that are this long and I get rabbits that are 9 pounds. So as I get them, I bring them in, I weigh them, permanent marker on the bag, and I write what's on there. Hey, stop lagging. I see that. See, that's the problem with the HDMI on here. It's got this funky little lag that it'll do every now and then, and it's really frustrating. But you can get to a point when snakes are smaller, or you pretty much look at the girth, and you really don't want to exceed the girth of the snake on a smaller snake, and we're talking 5, 6, 7 feet, stuff like that. Once you start getting into the bigger ones, then I gauge it by weight, because you can get a big discrepancy. If your snake is this big around, then you can get a lot of animals that when they stretch out, they're that big around, and you might be looking at 30 pounds. Excuse me. So yeah, that's how I do the larger ones. You can pretty much guess. See, and that's funny too, because like I've got my certain way of doing it. I'll feed larger meals to my 16-foot retics less frequently. And I've got friends of mine that are breeders, and they will feed, like 4-pound meals to their 16, 18-foot snakes every week. So, I don't know which one's better. I think, as long as they get X amount of nutrients over X time frame, then they're good to go. And all you do is you just, you keep an eye on them, you watch the metabolism. Your snake looks like it's starting to get fat, then, back them off a little bit. If it looks like, they may be really searching for food hard and pushing hard and slimming down, then of course you need to up the frequency that you're feeding them. But overall, they're not too bad. If you have any specific questions and stuff like that, feel free to shoot them over to me on Facebook Messenger or something like that. I do check that in between all of the people trying to sell me logos, and I just had like 3 people today ask me if I wanted a cartoon caricature of myself. Where are we at? Yeah, I just had a corn snake bypass a water dish to lick the water off the glass after misting. That's like my leopard geckos and cresties and all that stuff. You can give them a water bowl and they won't touch it. They'll just lick everything off the leaves. That's awesome, man. I appreciate it. I always appreciate the kind words, man. They help keep me motivated. That is for sure. Hey, Ray, how you doing this evening? Yeah, we're really looking at getting some of these people that are, because the thing is, and I mentioned this today on Facebook too as well. Kind of talking about the gatekeepers to reptiles, where you get so many of these people that are, and you see this not just in reptiles. You see it in a lot of different professions, where somebody may be really proud of what they do, to the point where they think that they do it so well that nobody else can do it, or it's so difficult that nobody else can do it. There's not a whole lot of things that really applies to. So you'll get some folks telling people, "No, man, these big snakes, they're dangerous. You got to know this. You got to be a millionaire. You got to dump thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on them and stuff like that." Yeah, they try and discourage them from doing it, but with the right tutelage and a little bit of get a little ingenious with the enclosures and stuff like that. I mean, they're not that hard. They're really not. Now I've got the fan blowing on me, and I think it's blowing dust into my nose, so I keep itching. But yeah, that was one of the things that I was talking about earlier today. As these things aren't that hard. They can be really miserable if you choose not to learn about them and not seek out the right experience. But yep. Yeah, Ed and Emily, they're like this awesome success story, man. Like I said, I've always watched, I was watching them making snake videos in their kitchen, and now they've got a zoo out there, man. It's crazy. They've done really well. I mean, she's on the local news channels and stuff like that all the time now. You always see her taking her snakes out, and it's really cool. Hey, Laura. All right. Brandon, what's going on? I thought something smelled fresh in here. Oh, cool. Carpets are really fun. Matter of fact, here in a little while, I'm going to get out my my half-breed carpet, which is really happy we got her. She's an awesome animal. Poor girl has some issues, but she's awesome. Bob has had to been assist fed a couple times because he's still it's funny because he's really cage defensive, to the point where, if I go over there and look at him, he's hissing at me and he'll pop the glass every now and then. As soon as I take him out, he's fine, but he's still been really cage defensive. So I've had to assist feed him a couple pretty good sized meals. So he's still healthy. Psychologically, he's still getting settled in. Oddly enough, we got him past the biting part pretty easily, to the part where I can, get him out and handle him and so forth. But I did have a little glimmer of hope today because I thought maybe he felt too exposed in this enclosure back here. So I put Chloe, our little baby retic, in there, and Bob is now in 4-footer back here. And his demeanor seems to have changed since I've put him in that smaller space. Um, he was coming out of he was in a tub previously. So he's used to not getting like any exposure to anybody. So I've got him in this smaller enclosure. And just today, I seen when I walked up to the enclosure, he came up and he showed a little bit of food response there. Um, so I'm optimistic. We're good. We're gonna get him there. I mean, he's gonna stay healthy. He's gonna eat whether he wants to or not. Um, force feeding is not something that I like to do, but I'm gonna do that as opposed to him getting malnourished. Um, and like I said, he'll get there. It took me with Athena, my little Burmese right there. It took me every bit of 3 months, I think, of assist and force feeding her before she started to eat on her own. And then once she did, she was all good to go. But yeah, well, we're gonna get our girl out here in a minute. Yeah, Carla has some really nice carpets out there. Really nice ones. Asking if I have any content on the carpet specifically. Um, a little bit, or I talk about him, but I don't have a whole lot that specifically goes in to carpets. They're, being they're arboreal, semi-arboreal, whatever you want to call it. They're really, really active. They scare a lot of people, man. It's funny because I've had people that have, had all different kinds of species of snakes. And, I'd get the carpet python out and they were afraid to handle it because I guess it's the same thing as like the green tree pythons and the emerald tree boas. And, a lot of those arboreal type snakes are so reactive, that, so reactive and so energetic a lot of times that they get a bad rap. So, and carpets are awesome. They've kind of got the same demeanor when you're trying to read them almost as maybe as a boa does, because you know how the boas have always got their necks essed up and they always look like they're getting ready to kill you, even when all they want is a scratch on their chin. Um, yeah, it's kind of the same thing with the carpet pythons. Um, if you give them some vertical space, they'll definitely use it. That's one species that I think, a vertical enclosure is really awesome for. Feeding's about the same, they'll eat rodents, birds, stuff like that, the same size as you would, same size ratio as you would feed just about any other snake. They're really not difficult. Same heat and humidity requirements for the most part. But like I said, they make some people nervous just because they can be so high energy. Let's see. But yeah, I do need to start putting some stuff out specifically on carpets. So, any places where someone can go to see if people need to remove snakes, like rescue, post. Yeah. What I've done with almost my entire collection is I just go out and I see who's rehoming your animals. Um, you can go on whatever local classified it is. Um, and I'll look through there periodically to see which animals. And then, of course, as I get to be a little bit more well known, people will contact me if they know there's an animal that needs to be taken in or something. Which is how I got Chloe. Somebody had told me that she was in a bad spot and needed a home. So, of course, I jumped on her and got her over here and got her all taken care of. But yeah, I mean, just you can just keep an eye on classifieds and things like that. People will put them up on Facebook Marketplace, I think, if I'm not mistaken. You can go to Craigslist, but that's always kind of sketchy. I mean, I don't worry too much about it. The only thing that I do recommend is that anytime you're going up to pick up anything off a line, whether it's an animal or a piece of furniture, keep your phone on you and keep the camera going, keep it recording. Especially for me, because, me just being a guy out there, sometimes meeting these housewives or whatever, people who I don't know what their state of mind is and whatnot. I've always got that phone recording. So if anybody ever tries saying anything, then yeah, we can pull up the recording of it and just put the kibosh on that stuff. But yeah, I mean, you got to be careful because you never know. You got to make sure that you're quarantining the animals really well too, because people will tell you they're an expert keeper, and not know the first thing about the animals. And that's just the nature of humanity. So they could say that snake's perfectly healthy, and in fact, it's on death's door, and they just don't want to make themselves look bad. So, I must have missed the other part of that. I'm sure there was more to that discussion up there. Now, man, that's what we're here for. Random questions are awesome. Yeah, Carla does have a lot of carpet python stuff on there. Let me go through here a little bit. Where we at? Where we at? Hey, Greg. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I'm just kind of reading down here. I don't want to, the stuff that you guys are having discussions about and stuff like that, I'm kind of just letting that go. I'm looking for questions and stuff like that before I go get the yeah, if you're talking about Charlie, man, he is a ham too. Chloe's awesome. Bob's awesome. I don't know, Gene. I don't know if you've seen the I don't know if you've seen Lilith yet or not, but she's getting ready to come out. I actually made it to the end of the comments here. Woohoo! I made it. So let me get her out and get her settled down a little bit. Come on, girly. Everybody wants to see you. What is this? Okay. Here's our newest girl. You're going to notice her flopping around quite a bit, especially until she calms down a little bit. For those of you guys that haven't seen her yet, she is a coastal carpet and green tree python hybrid. On the carpet side, she's a Jaguar morph. And Jags are known to be really similar to the spider gene in ball pythons. It does the same type of no, let me take that back. It is a gene that has negative ramifications to the animal. I haven't had a lot of experience working. I had a spider ball python who was fine. I never seen anything. Now this one right here with the jag, like I said, this is the first jag that I've handled really. And it's very different. She does have some stuff going on. And I'm in the process of kind of educating myself on what exactly it causes, what physical deformations it causes, and what can be done to mitigate it, if anything. But it is really kind of sad with this particular animal. I mean, she's gorgeous. She's not taking a shot at me at all. She seems really inquisitive and pretty chill for the most part once she gets settled in. But the thing is, if you handle either a green tree python or a carpet python, um, they will latch on to anything. They're little grabbers, and anytime you're handling them, they're gonna have something wrapped around you. This girl, and I presume it's because of the jag gene, is a limp noodle. It's almost like she doesn't have complete control over her musculature, because like if I let her tail come down around my shoulder, her whole body will just flop down. It's like she doesn't hold on at all, and you can see, she's trying to get up and kind of explore and look at stuff and things like that, but she's got a hard time um, maintaining stability. She'll flop sometimes. So I don't think any of that is a result of the hybridization. I'm not sure. Again, this is all stuff that I'm learning about as I go. So I don't think it's the hybridization that's doing it. I really think it's the jag gene on the carpet python side, and there might be something that's exacerbating that, maybe because of the hybridization. I don't know. But I can say that if this is indicative of what the jag gene does, I don't like it, because this animal, being a cross between the two species that she is, she should really be a gripper and really be in control of her body. And unfortunately, like I said, she's a little derpy. And yeah. And she does that a lot too. She'll get yep. I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but she came around my back, and you could hear her tail slap the back of the chair as she just fell. Now she can move around and stuff like that. I put her in the enclosure. She can move around it and whatnot, but she's just not much of a gripper. You can see how her body will just kind of limp noodle around all over the place. Come on, girl. Chill out. So yeah, and for those of you guys that haven't heard her story, she belonged to somebody who was a friend of a friend, and her owner had taken ill, and this friend was in the will to take care of her collection when she died. So they inherited the animals, and she needed a good home. So this is where she ended up. So she's going to hang out with us, and her and I are going to be derpy together. And she's going to do all of the being good looking parts for me. Let's see if I can get her up and get a good close look at her face. If she'll chill for a second. There we go. I mean, is that not a stunning animal or what? Come on. Get down there. There we go. The autofocus picks up on the eyes. Yeah, man. She is a gorgeous girl, but she is definitely she definitely takes a little bit of extra patience with her. Ain't that right, girl? She just can't let you flop around all over the place like you want to. You know what I mean? Are you gonna chill out? Let's see where we're at here. Where was I at? Aha. Man, I did miss a lot of comments. Where are we at? We're at oh, yeah, I go through Liberty Mutual for that. I actually, I go through Geico for my vehicle, so I just called my Geico agent and they directed me to them. And yeah, it was real easy to get set up. I'm not bonded or anything. I haven't turned Intrepid Exotics into an LLC yet because there's not enough revenue coming in really to justify it. But I'm kind of on the fence. I may end up doing it pretty soon just because of the nature of the events and stuff like that we do. So I may, like I said, man, there should possibly be a whole lot of changes coming up here in the next year. We should see a lot of things happening. So Sam says next door is another place you can look for animal listings. Hey, Michael, how are you tonight? Let's see. Yeah, Chloe is a freaking amazing animal, man. Of all of the ones that I've got, Chloe is the one that without, she always comes up to the enclosure and will crawl out on me and stuff. She's awesome. And I love Tigger too, but my back hates him. We went and did that show out here at the Show Me Reptile show, man. And after doing that presentation, it was like a 30-minute presentation with him and Monty. And I swear I could hardly walk for a week. Let's see. Let me scroll down here. I know I got a little bit behind. Yeah. I've really got to start looking that up. I mean, Jeremy Turgeon, he's pretty familiar with it, and we talk quite a bit. So I am going to be picking his brain at some point, kind of finding out everything he knows about it. And I know Christina Hill. I don't know if she's done any research specific to it. I thought she did something with the spider gene, but again, I've just got to ask him and find out. But I do have here pretty soon. I've got to talk to the doctor from Rare Genetics. I'm going to have him on at some point. We're going to talk probably, I don't know, it's like the first or the second or something. We're going to talk pretty soon. And I may potentially be driving up to Virginia. He's the one that's been collects up the sheds and sends it off for genetic testing. Come on, girl. You need to chill out a little bit. You need to chill out. Or I'm going to get the retic out. You just chill out, hang out, okay? Don't get huffy with me. And don't eat the microphone. But so yeah, we'll be talking with him. We've got to get Jeremy on here at some point too, to talk about all of the USARK stuff that's going on. I know a lot of you guys had seen the video that I put out about the thing down in Louisiana. Now we got more bad news from down there. This is coming from Florida, actually. And I guess I need to get a hold of Daniel at some point too. And I'm sure he'll be more than happy to come on and talk about what they're dealing with down there. But I guess they're planning on banning every iguana species down in Florida. So not just the green iguanas, rock iguanas, everything. If it's an iguana, they're talking about banning it. Or banning it. So there's something else that we got to work with. Oh, cool. Yeah, Erica, is that so you're noticing an improvement? You say you had a little jag retic. I'm guessing you got it when it was a baby, and is it kind of growing out of it maybe some? I mean, this girl, I know somebody asked me earlier how old this girl was. I want to say between 5 and 10 years old, somewhere between there. She's mature for sure, but come on, girl, find a place to land. Hey, how are ya? Good to see ya. Yeah, Carla, I mean, that's something I'm not sure exactly how. I mean, I've heard that it was a deformation of the bones of the inner ear. I've heard it was other kinds of deformation. I've heard it's I don't know. Like I said, I want to find out exactly what the exact physiological issues are, what it causes, just so that we can understand it a little bit better, right? Just got to understand what's going on with you. I think she's finally gonna chill out a little bit. Hey, Jess, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, you're right. There you go. You're out of frame. um, yeah, I'm going to. Well, I handle her a reasonable amount. Like I said, she just got here right now, so I'm not trying to stress her out too much. I'll work with her a couple times a week. I'll have her out 2, 3 times a week, something like that. Um, so I'm just kind of letting her chill out. I didn't want to handle her too much because it's been about a week that I've had her. I want to make sure that she eats. She was eating really well before I took her, was slamming food. So we're going to see how she does now. I'm guessing she's probably, I mean, she seems really comfortable. So I don't see where she's going to have any problem eating. But I just want to make sure before I really start working with her too much. And she's a little thick too. I mean, she can stand to go on some smaller meals for a little while. I have so been wanting you talking about putting slogans and stuff on a cup and selling it. I have really got so many ideas for stuff that I want to start making on t-shirts and getting those put up on the store. I actually started messing around with some stuff this weekend. So keep an eye out over the next couple of months. I'll have some new shirts out there that should be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, man. Like I said, I had one spider ball that was perfectly fine, didn't exhibit any problems. And this is the first jag that I've really worked with. And yeah, it's not worth any color pattern to have these guys, you know. Thank you. You rock. But I mean, there's no pattern in the world that's worth breeding a disability into an animal. That's just I've like I said, I've heard different things. I didn't think the spider thing was that big of a deal because the spider I had didn't exhibit anything. I hadn't worked with the Jags yet. But just feeling her, and I mean, you guys can see handling any of the other snakes that I've ever handled. Uh, she's got, like I said, she's got that really bad flop. Matter of fact, you can watch her as her tail starts to slide down. See if I can get back here. She's still hanging on. Just you can see. I mean, it's just kind of dead weight. I mean, it's like a rope falling off, and she doesn't have any desire to really tighten that up and use that as her base, like almost every other snake does. So, but she's a pretty girl, and we're gonna take good care of her. And maybe with a little bit of exercise and stuff like that, maybe we get her out and maybe we can get her a little bit stronger, but we will see. I am going to put her back though, so she doesn't have to sit out here and flop the whole time. You're a good girl. Get on up there. Okay. Yeah, she's the sweetest animal, though. Definitely a sweet animal. Oh, hey. Super chat. I can't do it. I'm going to have somebody kick me into Family Jewels so I can get that octave up a little bit like Clint does. I appreciate it, Carla. That's one of the things we're going to talk about when I go over the channel growth over the last two and almost half years. I'm just going to throw all that stuff out and let everybody see what it's looked like so far. Cool. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, and I got to say one thing about the channel growth thing. It's just like anything else, I'd love to have something hit and go viral and all that stuff and just have the channel blow up. But I'm more interested in just having a solid base of decent people who love the animals and just want to talk about them. One, because they're a little bit less judgmental because I am not much of an entertainer. And I can get way too serious sometimes. So you guys all put up with it. And of course I appreciate it. I mean, I'm really fortunate in the respect of, everybody that comes on here on the weekends, man. You guys are awesome. I can come on with absolutely nothing in mind to talk about and sit here for 2-3 hours sometimes, just, shooting a shit with you guys. I love it. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah. Everybody got to hit the thumbs up. We got 5. Really? All right. There's a little thumbs up button down. Where we at? Down here. Yeah, 36 people on there. Y'all got to hit that. Clickety click, 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 click. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I've heard, Erica. It was an inner ear issue. Yeah. Oh, I know I'm getting way behind here. Oh, let's see. Somebody got on. Let's see. Joined USARK Florida. Yeah. Yeah, I remember USARK Florida too, man. I mean, both of them. I mean, and you can see too. I mean, Florida starts going nuts with the laws. All of this stuff has crept over to Louisiana. Now Louisiana, they're sitting back there in the bayou thinking, oh yeah, that's a good idea. We should ban all these things too. Maybe we can have some snake hunts. So yeah, it really chaps my ass to see how people are keep pushing these bans and stuff like that. I think that might be a good video idea at some point for me to really dig in deep, and put together a very well researched video on why these animals can't survive out in certain climates. You get up to a certain latitude and stuff like that. Anything that breaks down how stupid some of these bans really are. So. Husband can't believe you're subscribed to a snake channel, huh? Give it a little while. He's not going to believe you got like a big retic pretty soon. Because that's what happens. We get everybody eventually. Let's see. Do snakes have the inner ear bones that can move like humans, like vertigo, and they do exercises and stuff like that? It's my understanding that snakes do have 3 inner ear bones, much the same way that we do, except if you look at a snake's skull, if you can picture, you know, one of the myths is that snakes dislocate their jaws when they eat. Well, they don't have to dislocate it because they've got an extra hinge in their jaw. Um, like if you look at our jaws, they come down from the joint straight down and then they come forward. Well, in a snake's jaw, there's bones that attach to the skull come down and there's a hinge right here. So these bones are separate from these bones. So it comes down, there's a hinge, and then it comes out and the bone, it's not a solid bone. It breaks right here and there's a ligament. So when they open their mouth, not only does this hinge, like we come down, we open our mouth off that one hinge, they've got that additional hinge that opens it even further. And then those bottom jaw bones come out. So I wasn't even looking at the video to see how stupid I looked right there, but we'll see. But anyway, that's how their jaw works. And one of their lower inner ear bones is actually fused to their jawbone. So when people talk about snakes not being able to hear, they've got the same inner ear components, and they've actually got that solid connection to their other jawbone down there that I'm sure makes them much more sensitive to vibration than we are. When they're down on the ground like that and they're scooting around with that jawbone so close to the ground like that, I'm sure they're really sensitive to vibrations. And if you bring them in, I'm sure if they're laying on an enclosure or something and you got your base thumping, I'm sure they can feel that really, really heavily. So, oh, cool. Yeah, thanks, Greg. Yeah, the Nathan is out in Utah. So, yeah, Tyler Nolan's pretty cool. He's got he's got an awesome setup down there. And yeah, Nicole hit the nail on the head. He's kind of like a more mellow Chandler. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we was just talking about. Let's see. Sri Lankans aren't impossible to get, just difficult to get. I wonder if CBD would have the same effect on reptiles. I don't know. I'm gonna have a hard time getting the snake to take care of a doobie, but stranger things have happened. Now, I'm sure they would have some kind of a medicinal form of that we could use. Woohoo! Look at that. Thank you so much, Ron. I do appreciate it. You have been such a big help, man. Definitely appreciate the support. Yeah, you guys will see, man. All these super chats and stuff, they help. Especially once you see kind of the numbers over the last 3 years and how much goes into it as opposed to how much comes out of it. Huge help. It'll be really good once we get about 100,000, 200,000 subs on here, and then I won't have to do this whole day job thing anymore. We can start working on the animals all the time. Hey, I do have the snake on the stripper pole. The only thing is I haven't animated it yet. So it's a stripper pole snake. So that was what the AI generates when you put in snake on a stripper pole. And that came up because Ruth started messing with me. We come in here, get ready to do a live stream. She's like, "Oh, it's time for you to go work the pole, huh?" It's like, yeah, I guess I am. Oh, let's see. It is. It is very awesome, man. We definitely appreciate everybody that helps out. Let's see. What else we got? Talking about trying to feed him outside of his enclosure. Yeah, I think what his deal really is he's just used to being in a tub and he just feels so exposed now. And I don't have any tubs here. All of my animals are in enclosures, so I probably do need to get a smaller tub that's opaque that he can't see through. Leave him in there for about a day and then try and feed him, see how he does. But like I said, there was a little glimmer of hope today because he showed me just a little bit of food response. So maybe we're getting there slowly but surely. Yeah, I've heard some things too. I mean, I'm sure as these genes get kind of watered down and so forth, I'm sure some of these traits will go away. At least I hope they do. Hmm. Yep. Well, see, that's the worst thing about this. He's talking about hating how politicians advocate for bans and they don't know anything about them. I mean, sit down, watch the damn U.S. House of Representatives sometimes, man. I watch a lot of their hearings and things like that. It's amazing how stupid those people are. I mean, you get an idiot like Lauren Boebert up there who doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground. And I have heard her say some of the most dumb, disconnected from reality things I've ever heard in my life. And we need to vote better, people. We do. It's not their fault. It's our fault for putting dumbasses in Congress. We got to stop that. I mean, just because somebody looks good on a stripper pole does not mean that you want to put them as your state representative. And that's the extent of my political talk for tonight. Let's stop electing idiots. Oh, where we at? Thought there was something. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Yeah, that was a lot of the motivation for naming Lilith here. That was the first thing that came to mind when I seen this white girl as was the white cobra that Kevin lost. So where we at? Oh, what other ones? Trying to catch up on these things real quick. There's a new one. Hey James, how you doing, buddy? See, just got your first pied retake back in August. You're strong. Awesome. Yeah, enjoy. It's really awesome that those Sri Lankan videos have been helping, man. I always love to hear that. And everybody's always saying, I can't wait until my snake's 16, 18, 20 feet. Enjoy. And I mean, it's great once they get that big. Don't get me wrong. It's always great to have the big snakes, man. But God, enjoy the time when they're small. Like having Chloe back here now and being able to have a retic running around and not panting and having discs blow out of my back because of her is amazing. So I've really learned to appreciate the smaller retics as much as the big ones. I love my big snakes, man, but God, they I've really got to get back into the gym and get into better shape because God, they'll put a hurting on you in a big way. Yeah, this I might have said this before you came on, Greg. I actually moved him. He's no longer in the hutch enclosure right here. I put him in a 4-footer back here, and he seems to have lightened up just a little bit now that he's not doesn't have so much space in there. He does seem to have chilled out a bit so far, and exhibited a little bit of a food response earlier. So yeah, I'll see how he does this week. He had just eaten last week, I think it was. So we'll see how he does this week. And if he doesn't eat this week, then I'm gonna go ahead and pull him out of that enclosure and put him in a tub for a day, and then just drop feed into the tub and see if that helps. Either way, we'll just keep trying stuff until he eats. Yeah, you'll. A lot of people will find that works. Kind of closing off enclosures will help them feel more secure. Yeah. All right, if you're still here, Jordan, good night, buddy. Yeah, I'm sure poles make awesome exercise. The problem is there's video cameras and things like that. Oh, where we at? Where we at? Oh man, I just had the greatest scene go through my head. Think about speaking at the house floor or something like that, and every time one of them morons starts getting stupid, just pull a bottle of Listerine out, start spraying them. Sit down, shut up. Shh, shh. Somebody was talking about leucistic gator. I thought I'd seen something about that. I'm not sure. All right, Sam. Have a good night, buddy. Let's see. Are we there yet? I'm gonna try and run through these things because I know I'm. Oh, here we go. We're getting to the end. Get the carpet python out. I can certainly do that. Matter of fact, I'll go down here shortly. As soon as I catch up on the chats, and I'll go get him. And we still got the USARK stuff to talk about. I still got some other stuff to pull out. I was going to kind of do our year in review. So I hope nobody's got any plans. We're going to be here for a hot minute. Get caught up. Okay. Well, let me go get my jungle carpet python. I'm upstairs. He's downstairs. He comes out pretty easy. I'll be right back. And of course, he'd be all over the place as usual. I'm back. All right. So this is my little jungle carpet python. And you can see there's a big difference. He's hanging on to everything with his tail. A little bit smaller than the coastal. So the like you'll still see a little bit of the same, head shape with this guy as you do with Lilith. But the jungle's got a little bit smaller melon on him. So and he's got a big dry spot on his head because he's getting ready to shed. These guys will like to sit down in their water bowl with just the top of their head sticking out. So the rest of them gets all nice and clean. And they always got that one little dry spot on top of their head. Come on, bud. What are you doing? You don't want chill? You got zero chill tonight? Oh, let's see where we're at. Dun-dun-dun. I know there's... Don't tell me I missed. Damn, I guess I did miss a little bit when I was going down there. Let's see. Dun-dun-dun. There's a bigger one. That's a good question. This kind of comes up a lot. I try and not do multiple meals if I can help it. Yeah, I try and match the I try and do a nice healthy meal for the animal, and it doesn't hurt them doing multiple meals, but my preference is just trying to match them to the size. If I've got my retics, like I said, 80 pounds. So, I try and get close to an 8-pound rabbit for them. And that does really well. That's a perfect meal for them. Like I said, you probably go a little bit below the 10% mark, especially with some of the smaller snakes and stuff like that, kind of trying to match something to their girth. But, yeah. Multiple smaller meals. I mean, they're just more of a pain than anything. It's easier to feed single meals too. Nice. I do kind of miss my bike. I'm gonna have to get another one of these days. Sam say he's still hanging out. This is kind of funny too. I was just talking the other day, thinking how funny it would be to get a porch pirate to like hijack a Rodent Pro order or something like that off my porch, and just to be there to watch them open the bag as they open it up and find a bunch of frozen rats and dry ice. It would be worth them stealing it to be able to see their reaction when they opened it. Yeah, that was, we kind of had it was really funny. It depends on how dark your sense of humor is, really. As you can imagine, I've got a dark sense of humor that I don't typically let out on the channel very often. But when I was picking up from for the medical examiner's office, there was always a running joke with the cops if they was to ever pull me over. You know why I stopped you? Well, does it have anything to do with the body in the back? that joke went a lot farther than I'm ever going to take it on the channel here, but that just made me think of that when she was talking about getting pulled over and getting searched. Yeah, the hognose is the only venomous you want to call it that. But I don't think my hog noses have ever bitten me. She struck at me about 15 million times, but she doesn't bite. She just takes that nose and stabs me with it. So I've never gotten teeth in me from a hog nose. But I mean, it's my understanding it's real similar to an insect bite, and of course, and that stuff is going to depend a lot too on the individual sensitivity. If you're allergic to bee stings and stuff like that, you're probably going to have a little bit stronger reaction to it. So, but I don't really worry about my hoggy. She gets jumpy, call it, every now and then, and she'll try and pop me with her. Try and pop me with her nose. Let's see. Damn. See, I keep getting so far back on the comments here. This was asking. Yeah, it's a full-grown snake. I don't know the snakes ever get full-grown, but they are. Yep. Yeah, carpets are really fun. Yeah, that's what they do. I really like feeding my hog nose too, because everybody else is going nuts and slamming at the food, and the hog nose just kind of looks at it and really slowly opens her mouth. See. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I mean, it's not going to hurt them if you're feeding multiple rats, multiple prey items. But I just personally find it much easier to feed one. Typically, they transition pretty easily. Most of my animals will eat anything. Sometimes I've got quail out. Sometimes I got rabbit, pig, rats. Most of them eat just about anything I give them. I'm going to try and catch up on these things. I was just reading through what Judd was saying about the dog that was buried in the boxes for the porch pirates. Awesome. Well, let's see what's the best way to explain it. So, like jungle carpet pythons and coastal carpet pythons is kind of like the difference between a Indian rock python and African rock python. That same kind of just speciation between them. Jaguar is an actual morph. So the differentiation between like jungle and coastal would be like a speciation, and the Jaguar just being a morph, just like Pied or Motley, Golden Child, all that stuff. So the Jag is just that one morph that tweaks their nervous system for them. Enclosure 4 foot by yeah for a carpet, man. That's not bad. If you give them 4 foot and you give them 4 or 5 foot tall with some stuff that what I do with my enclosure downstairs for him is I just took some branches and run them perpendicular along the front of it, and he just climbs all over the place, man. He loves it. Got the heater set up over a clay stone and all that stuff for him. Yeah, everybody ends up checking out the mic at some point. Okay, right. Check a good snake. Yeah, I forget where it was. I saw that same video. He was talking about the rat snake eating scrambled eggs. That's pretty funny. I'm gonna get the man. You're getting ready to shed pretty soon. I'm gonna get him back in a tub real quick. You're gonna hang out right here for a little while till I take you back downstairs. I want to have my hands free. No. Get in the box. Get in the box. I want to go in the box. Watch your tail. Come on. Come on, Cooper. Stop it. Always so much fun trying to get those guys in there. Oh, poop. Excuse me. Oh, I've been pretty fortunate. Nobody's ever really struck at my camera except Niles. Niles has taken a shot at it before. Matter of fact, I think I was filming when he came at it. I got a big picture of his mouth coming at it. So. But yeah, man. So now that we're done talking about all that stuff, let's start talking about. Well, first I want to go over the USARK stuff. So if anybody has to take off, at least we're all on point with that. Like I said, here sometime over the next couple days. Jeremy and I, for those of you who don't know, Jeremy Turgeon, he used to be the operations manager up at New England Reptile. He moved down here in North Carolina. Currently is now a full-time USARK employee. And he is going to be talking some here in the next couple of days on the channel about the USARK alerts that we've got coming out. If I'm not mistaken, there's a Facebook page out right now. And let me see if I can find a link for it real quick while I'm talking about it so I don't forget. And this is about the Louisiana stuff going on. I'm going to drop the link here. Make sure that make sure if you guys are on Facebook, jump over. That's the group for the Louisiana alert. Phil Goss just posted in there. Actually, latest post was about 9 hours ago. And they've got the form letter that we're sending down to Louisiana. If you go onto my channel too, there is, matter of fact, I may make that the USARK alert video a permanent one up on the channel for right now, just to make sure that as many people see it as possible. But we need to get letters generated down there, letters and email, snail mail as well, anything that you guys want to send and can send. And if you go to that Facebook group, you'll be able to find the form letter, and you can always mix it up, put your own stuff in there. The only thing that we ask is that, of course, everybody always be professional, no threats, no personal insults. It's all about the laws and expressing opinions about that, but do so professionally. And just keep in the back of your mind, anytime you're writing any of these letters, that they're going to read that, and you can call them every name in the book, and you can tell them that they're stupid. If you've ever told anybody they're stupid before, did they ever believe you? They won't believe you here either. So keep it professional. All they're going to do is look at it and go, okay, reptile keepers are jerks and I don't want nothing to do with them. And I don't care about your opinion. So it's really important that we keep it as cool as we can with them, as professional as we can. So bearing that in mind, we do need to generate some mail down there. And I haven't gone too in depth with it, just because I wanted to make sure I had all my ducks in a row. I don't want to be giving away bad information. Let's see. We're at. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Jeremy's a good dude. We've done a lot of stuff together since he's been down here, and we'll definitely be doing a lot more. So I know over the course of the next couple months, I want to start doing a lot more USARK stuff, getting a lot more videos out for them too. So, yeah, you stop rubbing my face after holding the snake. I do. Yep, I got in trouble. What do you know about that? So anyway, that's the USARK stuff for right now. If you guys have any questions, specific questions about that or anything, let me know. I'll be more than happy to address it as best I can. So I've got the cable in the way of the text right here, the way I got the camera set up. And I don't want to move it because everything's working right now. How many times a month do I take out? I don't get them out enough. How many times a month do I take out the big snakes? You always feel guilty because you don't take them out enough. Where do I find the time? I let the snakes tell me when they want to come out. They will. The snakes are great, especially retics. They're smart. They're sociable. They will interact. They look like they enjoy interacting a lot of times. But there's a lot of times, too, where they just want to be left alone. They are still, snakes as a general rule are pretty solitary animals, and they don't need hugs all the time. So I'll really just watch their behavior. They come out, they typically need cleaning once a week or so. Cleaning, changing their water, stuff like that. So I'll take them out, tub them, play with them a little bit. And if they look like they've got a whole lot of energy, I'll go over and open the enclosure and let them come out, roam around and whatnot. But, like I said before, I sat there and watched my female 16-foot snake spend an entire week in a water bowl and didn't want to move. So, if they're like that, I don't mess with them. I give them their space and, give them their privacy as much as I can. Apollo, my Burmese python, he would come out every 30 minutes if I let him. So I'm always down there letting him out, letting him cruise around and stuff. And then throughout the week, I just, I'll grab this one and this one out today, this one and this one out tomorrow. I'll try and rotate things around with them a little bit. But I mean, as long as, like I said, it's the snakes will tell you everything that you need to know. Ultimately, you just gotta watch them. If they look like they're really wanting to come out and stuff, open the door, see what they do. I mean, half the time when they do that, like, and it's the funniest thing. I need to start recording this more than I do. But Monty, my 16-foot Motley, I'll go downstairs, I'll sit down there, and she'll come and put her head down right next to the door closest to me within 5 or 10 minutes typically. And then when I go over there, I'll take the stool over, I'll open up the door, and I won't take her out. I'll just leave the door open, and she'll come out and she'll hang her head out, and she'll just sit there and chill out. Sometimes she'll come out and, handle her and stuff like that. A lot of times she'll just sit there with her head hanging out, just with the door open, taking in the smells and stuff like that, still chilling out under the heat. So they do pretty good. I mean, we've got the winter time where they're going to be a little bit slower anyway. So, you don't feed them quite as much during the winter time as well either. I back off on food so they just don't sit here and get fat like me all winter long. And then as soon as the weather starts warming up in the summertime, um, that's when they really get to have fun and go outside and work off all that energy. Let's see. Yeah, so that's where we're at. How many times? And I really don't have all that many snakes compared to a lot of people. Got 4 reticulated pythons. 2 of them are big, 2 of them are smaller. You know, a couple hognose, a couple ball pythons, Florida king snake. The snakes that are up here, the boa imperator out there. That's about it. It's really not a lot. Got the Nile monitor, a couple leopard geckos, a couple crusties, the tegu. So it's not too bad. It was when I really first started getting into reptiles because I overextended myself and I got too many. It didn't take me long to realize that I needed to start rehoming some animals. Rehomed a mangrove monitor that I had, a couple other snakes, an iguana, plated lizard, tokay geckos. I mean, those are a pretty good little collection that I rehomed. Just because I realized that I was not going to have time or the space for 2 monitor lizards and all those other animals. So it's not too bad. Let's see. Yeah. Ta-da-ta-da. See. See the different. Yeah. Yeah, my snakes, he's talking about how his ball pythons will come up to sit at the glass and stare at him. My animals will throw some serious guilt trips on me when it's time for them to come out. They let me know. My ball pythons do the same thing. My little male, he'll sit there at the glass staring at me and be like, okay. And then as soon as I open up the door, man, he's coming out. Da-da-da. Okay, Tyler, be safe. I don't know how far I am or if you can still hear me, but have a good night, buddy. Da-da-da-da. Leopard geckos. If you get a leopard geckos are really cool. I've got, like, when I go downstairs, my leopard gecko enclosure is right there on the corner on the stairs. So a lot of times, as soon as I come around, he like jumps off the pyramid and runs to the door. It's the cutest thing ever. And I can open it up half the time. He'll stick his head up over the edge and crawl out of my hand and stuff. He doesn't hate me near as much as my tokay geckos did. They didn't do that. Definitely don't get tokay geckos as a first pet. It will kick your butt. If you ever consider getting a tokay gecko, watch New England Reptile when Kevin was socializing some of them. He lost a good half a pint of blood that night, that day. Yeah, man, leopard geckos are awesome. They're really cool. I mean, they're kind of fragile. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I think the smaller lizards are really cool, but I just feel they feel so fragile to me. After going in there with Niles and throwing my back out, throwing him all over the place and the big snakes and stuff. So so yeah, let me see here. I wanted to go over a little bit of what we've looked like here on the channel over the last 2.5 years. And let me see what I can find. I've got stuff like, see, I'm sure you guys are probably seeing it too. Those little screens that flash every now and then. And I wouldn't be terribly surprised if at some point soon the camera decides to shut off, because I think in an hour. No, it's been over an hour so far. And it hasn't shut down. It shut down on me when I was at the Reptile Expo, the Show Me show out here in Durham. I had it running and it just timed out on me. which was unfortunate. Oh, so let's do this. Just kind of gonna go over and share the screen here. Get off of here. We're just gonna look at some of the things that we had come up over the course of the year. I guess I need to go to my page. Come on. Yeah, man. Dude, I forgot all about that eye tracker until about 7:30 tonight. So I was a couple minutes late getting on because I got everything set up and went for the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi connection was crap. So I was like, okay, I got HDMI. So I plug it in, and there's that damn reticle again. But I got it figured out. Let me see here. We're going to share the screen. Share window. Share that one. There's the channel. Get over here. See if I can get some of this stuff out of the way. Maybe. There we go. Make that a little bit bigger. So, God, it's been. I'm gonna go to. You can tell I never browse my own stuff very much. But I'm gonna scroll down and see if I can find. I think the first video that we did. Yep, this is it right here. The last one we did of 2022 was about the storm preparedness and stuff like that. And it's always kind of funny sitting here looking back at the videos and see how they kind of progress over the months and years now that we're getting into the multiple years stage. I didn't realize it was already, over a year since we put out the retic series. And I think it was January of 23 that we did had the Tegu permit come up out here, and then we started the Nile monitor series, which we get a lot of good feedback on that. And it's kind of funny too to see what gets views and what doesn't. And I get out and I just start doing talking head stuff about USARK, and the USARK videos never get a whole lot of traction. And we really need the USARK videos to get a whole lot of traction. I mean, that's the most important stuff in the reptile community. You'll get 1 million people tune in to see Jay get punched in the face by a retic, but we get 2 or 3 states talking about banning reptiles or something. You might get 500 people, coming into it. So when we put out the stuff from USARK, some of it's going to be kind of, casual, par for the course stuff. But if we put out real alerts, we need to get that stuff shared out so that we can really get some heavy involvement in it. I mean, one of the highest performing videos I've got on here was the initial, and we'll get to that with the FWC thing. Yeah, God, looking back at some of these things seems so long ago. Had the one out about how to get bit by your snake. Man, it was 9 months ago. We was talking about Jay getting his reality TV show too, and John at Tipping Scales has covered a couple of those. He goes in and kind of goes through the whole episode out there. How we started. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this too, just to see how that was compared to the Sri Lankan videos. So, but yeah, see stuff like this. I mean, when these USARK alerts come out, when I put this first video out about Florida Fish and Wildlife, we had 77,000 views on that, and most of those were within the first month or two. The rest of that stuff has just kind of been straggling in over the last 8 months. But that thing got so much press, around the world, and so much attention that when you go up and you'd look up like vidIQ, and that's um, it's like a program that we use that looks at all the stats of our channel and stuff like that and gives us suggestions and whatnot. But it'll give you like the highest rated searches and what channels are searched for what. But when you would go into YouTube and press in Florida Fish and Wildlife, there was a while there, I think it was like a month or two, where the top channel was Intrepid Exotics, and then it was like New England Reptile was on there for a little while talking about it. But those were like the top channels that came up when you looked up fish and wildlife. So we got a lot of traction on that. And we need to try and get just as much traction on the other stuff that comes out as it's coming out. Oh, and then of course we had this thing where we was talking about, Kagan and I was talking about Slither. That was something that I can't believe that guy is still in business. Cannot believe. Well, I say that, but it really doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's amazing what people can get away with. But this was what started it all with Bob. This poor guy. He was so stressed out when he got here. When I actually play this. Very first handling session with Bob. Here we go. That poor guy. He was so stressed out when he got here. So stressed. So yeah, a lot of you guys had seen that. If you hadn't seen this, the series is a pretty good watch. Damn it. I get back here. No, want to go here. Where we at? See if I can get back and see where we was at. Yeah, you can get all the way to the end here. Wait, damn it. See, I thought about coming through here and just like making a whole video to play about all this stuff, but I'm like, you know what? I don't want to make all of this stuff twice. We can just go through here and look at stuff. But this is a really good side by side with Bob. And he's such a celebrity now. Calming down. He's not biting me anymore. And it doesn't take too long of handling him where he's just. So we've actually got to. I have got another retic that I'm thinking about taking on. And this one might be a little bit more interesting. I think this is a 12-foot retic from a friend of mine. And apparently he's really, really spicy. So this should be a real interesting one. I've got to get started making another 8-foot enclosure for this one. But once I get that guy in here, we'll get to do a Bob type series with him. I don't know how bad he's going to be. He might be a piece of cake. I might bring him home. But he says the snake's really a runner, and right around breeding time, he gets really spicy. So we might get to see some bigger snake interaction. And it's really, really kind of important to put that stuff out with the, especially with the bigger snakes, because that's one of the big sticking points with people is you get a, you get a bob-sized snake. It's a baby reticulated python or something. And then as they grow, their demeanor can change, even if you're doing all the right things. Breeding stuff comes into play. Some animals will change, and you get a lot of people contacting us about that stuff and different topics and different levels of severity and stuff like that. But it is very different handling a 12-foot snake that wants to bite you than it is handling Bob. All the techniques that I was showing working with the Sri Lankan, that's really good up to about a 3-foot snake. You get much larger than that, you really don't want to let them sit there and bite you 10, 15, 20 times. Especially once you start talking 8, 10, 12 foot and up retics, especially males. Because if you do that, you're just advised to learn how to do sutures yourself, save yourself the trip to the hospital, and just be ready. Just be ready with them. Know that when you get through fighting a wire retic like that, if you make too many mistakes, you're going to have to sew yourself up. And let's see, what else did we have? Oh, man, yeah, of course, the prairie dog updates. And you know what's really funny about this too? Let me catch up on the comments here real quick, because is that up? I probably missed that one. Catch you later, Heidi. Wait, asking if slid. Oh yeah, they are still in business. They were in North Carolina. They moved to South Carolina last January, about a year ago. Which really was a break in the continuum from what was there to what they've got now. And then as soon as stuff started coming out, I'm sure they cleaned things up a little bit to where you probably walk in there and be hard pressed to really, legally do anything. Sad situation all the way around. But there's some folks that are still trying to keep all that stuff up in the public eye. And I think Morph Market has still got him banned, and anybody that's doing business with him banned, and so forth. So it can't last forever. It's at the very least, if we can't completely get him out of business, he's not going to be able to afford to have as many animals as he did before, and the collection will at least shrink. But there's a big break between idealistically what we think should happen and legally what we're capable of making happen. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so many people got hooked on Bob, man. It was really cool to see. And, I was really skeptical too when I started putting those videos out, because I was like, man, it's like the same thing over and over again. But it does get a little bit better. And I think maybe the repetition kind of helps to reinforce with folks some of the concepts when we're working with them. And it's been, the feedback's been really cool on that whole series of the Sri Lankan. A lot of people have said it's helped them. So I'm hoping that, if this new male retic that I get, if I'm able to do a similar series with him, hopefully that will have just as much impact, and be able to help as many folks with their bigger snakes too. So. Let's see. I hope so, man. Yeah, I'm gonna, when I get done with this little, recap thing, looking through the channel from this past year, I'm gonna show you guys my analytics for the 3 years and the life of the channel and all that stuff, just so you guys can kind of see some of the inner workings of it. Hey, I'm transparent. I ain't got nothing to hide. So then put it all out there and just let everybody see it. And plus, for those folks that are thinking about starting your own channel too, it'll give you a good point of reference from the backside of it as to what it looks like. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. He was talking about being new to retics and how hard it is to find a breeder. It's when you first start getting into the community in general, it's tough if you don't know anybody. Because everybody's a salesman, man. Um, Everybody you talk to is an expert and they know more than anybody else in the industry, and they're going to give you 100% right information. And chances are you probably didn't get lucky and didn't get the person that gets everything 100% right. Um, Taken me a long time to really, meet and talk to people and stuff like that. People like out at Dax, out at D&T Retics, and Chris McVicker's really good. Aubrey Pruitt is an awesome breeder, really knowledgeable. He's been really helpful. I've got a couple of his animals here. Um, there are some really good people out there that you can really trust. Um, but unfortunately, especially in any reptile community, I guess in general, you've always got the people that are kind of at each other's throats, and you got people that um, get butthurt at somebody, so they make it their mission to do everything they can to put them under and destroy them and all that crap. I'm just like, you know what? Just grow up. You don't have to do all that stuff. I mean, I've got people that I completely despise on a personal level, but I can't say anything about their animals. You know, they don't mistreat their animals. They're good at what they do. So I shut up. Nobody else needs to know my opinion of that person because, you know, they're worried. They're worried about doing business with the animals. If the animals are healthy, they're bred right, and all that stuff, you know, that's the extent of it. I just don't have to associate with them, but I don't have to rip them to pieces either. I'm not going to get on and do the grievances that some people like to put out there just because their butt hurts about somebody. I mean, it's just called being an adult. I know there's a lot of people that don't like me, and I appreciate the fact that they just shut up and don't interact with me. That's the way it's supposed to be. Those of us that all get along can sit here and get along and have fun with the animals, and everybody else can kick rocks. So, let's see. To buy stock in Listerine. Oh, I got plenty of Listerine here. I was using it mainly just for the Nile monitor after I'd work with Niles and my arms would be all shredded. But yeah, it's a good place to get it. A good place to get it. Oh no, snake training with snakes. Let's see. What about just doing snake training with snakes and their owners so you don't have more animals but still able to create? Yeah, that's something when I get to the point where I can focus on the animals and the educational stuff full time, it's something I'd really like to do. I had one invite already and it fell through because the show was already really packed. But I had one viewer ask if I'd come up and do a presentation at their Reptile Expo, the same way I did at the one out here in Durham. And I was kind of planning on going up there, but like I said, the promoter ended up putting a kibosh on it because he said they wasn't going to have enough room, which, it is what it is. But I did have somebody else in Tennessee contact me the other day. He said he's got a 16, 18-foot pied female who is really punchy. And he thought it might make a really good video to come out and work with her. So that might be something that happens when it warms up. Couple different things I really want to show with the bigger snakes, because one of the things I see that gets spread around a lot with the large snakes that get defensive, and there's a couple channels that come to mind that have got a lot more views on these things than they should have, is people get so afraid of them and they just sit there, hover over them, and keep going at them with the hook, thinking that they're going to calm them down, and it just makes that animal more defensive, more scared, more willing to start striking and trying to fight their way out of the corner. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. If you've got a big snake that really wants to bite you, it's tricky. And, there's a good chance that any encounter that I've got with a bigger snake, 12, 14, 16 foot, if it doesn't like people and it wants to bite me, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to get bit. But there again, that's going to roll back into the philosophy that I've got. Whereas just like with the Sri Lankan, posting videos, him biting me like 30 times or whatever, it's not the actual bites that it's being put out there for. Not drawing clicks or anything like that from the snake bites. It's the whole process of taming them, and we just try and ignore the bites altogether. Now when we start, and this is one of the things that really pisses me off about Jay from Prehistoric Pets too, is because he gets out there, he gets these 18, 20-foot snakes, he's getting bitten by them constantly. And, a little blood here, a little blood there, and he makes it look like it's no big deal. It can be a pretty big damn deal when you get bitten by a big snake. I got to give him this much. He's really good at managing them and not getting ripped to shreds by them. But I've seen some gory, and I've had some really gory bites before. A bite from a 16, 18 foot, 20-foot retic is not a joke. You can kiss whatever nerves are there goodbye. Tendon damage is always a thing. If you don't control them right, you get ripped up, you're going in to get sutured. Teeth getting stuck on you, getting infections and things from that, the sutures, whatnot. So he doesn't really show the management of a real situation where you really get a bite from a snake. So that's one of the things that I'm going to kind of have in the back of my mind when I get out and start working with these bigger ones that are touchy like that, is when, I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when I get bit, because like I said, it's not always an exact science, and sometimes they get you. And when they do, I want to be able to demonstrate all the techniques that we talk about this is how you get them off of you, this is how you manage the bite, and blah, 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 and all that other stuff, and make it a completely educational experience. It may get a little bit more attention, being that it's bite videos and stuff like that. But just like with the Sri Lankan stuff, it's going to be all rolled into an educational format. And you guys will see, the stuff like when Coyote Peterson gets a little 4-foot Nile monitor on him or something, and gets a bite, and he sits there and hollers and screams and makes it all dramatic. You'll get to see that you don't have to always holler and scream when you get bit. Let's see what else. Guess Mama went to bed. This coffee has been working. I'm getting ready to get up here in a second and go get some more. Because I'm kind of fired up tonight. I wonder if I've missed any texts while I'm out here. We still got the rest of the videos to look at. Nope. Good. Yeah, I definitely need to get up there at some point, man. You know what I'd really like to do is when I get moved and we get the bigger place, and I start getting the real reptile room set up the way I want it, with the space that I want, I'd like to see if Kevin might be open to bringing his biggest, nastiest retic down that he just wants to get off his hands, and bring it down as an educational animal and have him kind of help me christen the place. It'd be really awesome. Because I've been following Kevin for years. When I first started working with snakes, I was watching his handling videos and stuff like that. Fago. Yep. God, I hate the friggin' click farmers. Yeah, it'd be really cool. All my friends are friends with Kevin. Him and I have had a couple exchanges back and forth. I've had a couple questions. As a matter of fact, I talked with him a little bit about Bob, getting some input from him on Bob. He helped out a little bit. Yeah, I'd really like to do something with him. The guy, like I said, the guy's just such a wealth of knowledge. It's not even funny. I need to get up there and see his new croc enclosure anyway, or his new croc monitor enclosure. He built a huge glass, just huge, awesome enclosure for that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go fill a coffee cup. Anyway. Yeah, aren't you in Virginia, Fago? I thought you were. Like I said, you have to forgive me, my memory's crap. Yeah, I still try and use. See, the one animal that still kind of got me is a Nile monitor, because as long as I've had him and as much as I've handled him and as cool as he's been for as long as he's been cool, I've always got it in the back of my mind the time that he latched onto the back of my neck. And there's times when I go into his enclosure and he's licking my arm and he's starting to crawl up me and just being so sociable and so cool. And I'm always just like, okay, bud, go ahead and get down, because I remember thinking he was so cool when I had him up on my shoulder that one time and he turned around and tried to bite my spine in half. So yeah, he needs some work. Cool, Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, man. Like I said, I don't know if you was here for this or not, but the guy from Rare Genetics is in Virginia, and I may end up making a trip up there to talk with him. He doesn't have the full lab up there in Virginia, but he does have some equipment and stuff. So I thought it might be cool to um, go out on site and have um, just either do a live stream, probably a pre-recorded, being out on site like that, but just do a pre-recorded thing and go out and talk about the genetic testing and stuff that they do. So it may be out in your area. I'll let you know. Let you know for sure whether we get out there or not. It says Reptile Expo on February 3rd. I don't even remember where Fishersville is. I don't get out to Virginia much anymore. We got there. Yeah. Like I said, I've got his email and stuff. We texted back and forth a little bit. I don't remember his name right off the top of my head. But all right. So let's go back through here and see if we can get us all caught up to what was this one? Oh yeah. This one. That's one thing that I think I've gotten a lot of kickback, and I think I've heard a lot of feelings when I talk about the live feeding stuff. Because I think there's a lot of these breeders, the only way they can get their rats is live, so they just go in and that's how they feed is live. I'm really in opposition to that for the most part. And I put out a couple videos that get pretty graphic about it. Made that one video that I made it intentionally to look like a live feeding video, so that when you opened it up, we can say, okay, now that you're here, this is what happens. This is what you're risking when you do it and stuff like that. Things you need to look out for. So, but that was only 2 months ago. And then we had Maz. This broke my heart too, because our little dwarf platinum did not make it. Worked with her for a good month or so. And the necropsy showed that she had a perforation in her intestine. So, I mean, there was really not much that was going to help her. It was such a shame, man. I was looking forward to getting her raised up. Man, she was the sweetest animal, man. But, so yeah, that's actually the only snake that I've ever lost. And that sucked. So, but anyway, it wasn't too long after that was when Chloe came in. Stop making all that noise. Nobody wants to listen to you, dude. I just want to see the snake. Little Chloe and her cute little kinked up tail. I think this was the same day that we got her, or pretty close to that, because she still had some messed up stuff on her. Yeah, she's still such a sweetheart. Yeah, it's it's sad. I mean, it's all part of keeping animals, though. Sometimes bad things happen, and no matter how hard we try, no matter how many hours we sit there, no matter what we try with them, sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah, this video right here got a little bit of traction. It was kind of funny. I had a spell there where it seemed like everybody was sending me messages or pictures or something like that. It was almost like I got one a day, two a day, something like that for a while. Where it's like, do you believe what this person did? Do you believe what that person did? Do you see this and do you see that? And it's like, guys, stop. It's like, if I spent all of my time doing this stuff, I would have time to do nothing else. I think, checking on each other and keeping up with ourselves and kind of policing the industry and stuff like that is good. I do think that some people take it a little bit too far and go completely overboard on the Karen side of it, and we don't need that. Everything's got to be tempered with some common sense there. All right, Sam. I just see he's taking off. Happy New Year, buddy. We will see you later, next Saturday at the latest. Oh, let's see. We had the Hutch video. We were talking about that. This was so much fun, too. We had 2 events this year. 2, 3. Oh, let me see how many. I had I want to say earlier this year. Yeah, because we had one at a park that was part of an annual festival. Then we had the summer camp, the museum, and the Reptile Expo. So I've actually, as soon as the New Year's is over with and all that stuff, we are going to, I'm going to start making contact with all the people we've done events with and see when they want us out again, all that stuff. Got to come up with a fee schedule that's reasonable, because, we've got 4 or 5, 6 different folks that'll come out, and they all bring animals. They all invest their time. They invest a whole day, because a lot of them will live an hour to 2 hours away or something. They've got their gas going into it and stuff, and they're great folks, and they just love doing the educational stuff with the animals. But I really think, if we're going to be going someplace that's going to be selling tickets and profiting off of our work, we at least need to be given some kind of a fee schedule for it. So we're going to be working all that stuff out at some point, which is another reason why I need to LLC this thing, I think. What do we got? Let's see. How long do retics take to reach their full size? Depends a lot on feeding and so forth. You can, you can regulate their feeding schedule. You can power feed them, and they're going to grow a lot quicker. And they're also, as you keep up that schedule, they're also going to get a lot more obese. I mean, that's what Jay Brewer does. He throws food down their neck and throws food down their neck and just tries to get them as big as they can, as quick as he can. And he ends up with these large, obese, really pitiful looking snakes. And I don't know. It always makes me grind my teeth every time. So every time he tries to respond to it, where somebody says, "Dude, your snakes are fat," and he just sit there and he just everybody in the world sees it and knows it's an obese animal, and he's just like, "No, that's not fat. It's just breeding." No, dude, that's a fat ass animal. If you take that animal that he's saying isn't fat and you put it on a necropsy table, you're gonna have grease. A lot of fat in that animal. But um, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's where we're at. Yeah, something in here where he says, "Well, of course. I mean, and there is no way. Even my retics are 16 feet long right now. There's no way I'd feed them weekly. Like I said, they're getting 6 to 8 pound meals, and they're going to eat once a month, roughly, something like that. And even at that schedule, my female, she starts to get a little bit pudgy pretty quick, and I've got to kind of back her off. My male, he's over 10 years old, so I mean his metabolism has slowed down quite a bit. And a male at 16 feet, he's going to continue to grow, of course. But um, back to the question about how long it takes for him to reach her full. I mean, Monty, my female, she's probably right around 5 years old, and she's 16. Uh, she's a Motley mainland. I expect her to get pretty close to 18 feet. I don't know about 20. I don't know that I see 20 feet in her, but she'll probably get 18, and it's probably going to take her a good 3-4 years, I would say, because her metabolism is starting to slow down a little bit. So between 5 and 10 years, it's going to slow down, but she's going to keep growing noticeably over the years, just not a whole lot. I would say by the time retic gets 10, they're pretty close to what their max length is going to be, and then they're just going to kind of tack on a little bit. They grow a lot more slowly as they age. Yep. Yeah, talking about Jay again. I don't know. Not too many people that I'm really quick to say I just don't like, but him and his ego need to take a trip somewhere and not come back. Long walk off a short pier type thing. Yep. Yeah, I mean you can. Man, it's like snake cellulite, like nothing. It's crazy. Yeah, that's my understanding too. Is that they don't ever stop growing. They just kind of slow down a little bit and stuff like that. Yeah. Let's see. Yep. Oh man, yeah. The Chat GPT thing was kind of funny too. Scrolling back up the list here a little bit, I put in. If you guys didn't see it, I typed into Chat GPT how to handle retics or something like that, and read off the whole dissertation that it gave me, and then kind of fact checked it. It got it pretty close. There wasn't too many things on it that was off, but and then there was somebody on there when I first put a thumbnail up. I put Chat GTP instead of GPT, and he was like, "Who's gonna tell him?" Like, well, it'd be nice if you would have just told me instead of making a big damn joke about it. And I need to change my thumbnail. Oh man. Yeah, a lot of the most diverse stuff here has been within the last couple of weeks. We hit on the Titanoboa, got the the one with Niles, which I this was such an awesome video with him. Where's that? I think I actually put that right in the beginning of it. Where I go in with the food, and here he goes. Crazy ass lizard. And he is the funniest guy, man. He I love this. I think I might have actually slow motioned it on this. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. It's just so funny because he'll meander around there like he's just disinterested in everything. He's moving so slow. And all of a sudden, every now and then, man, he just has these bursts of energy where it's like, oh my God. You just I love this guy. He is such a trip. Such a trip. And of course, we was talking about the skin trade. That's something. Oh man, you have to excuse me. I can't really keep the fan blowing on me because it dries out my contacts. And if I do that, then I'll be sitting here squinting at you guys. Let me turn this fan up a little bit. But yeah, that was one thing when I put out that video about the skin trade. One of the things that they was talking about doing that I learned there was genetic testing on those skins to determine what region they came from, so they can help with enforcement. And that's something really cool that that I want to try and go into when we do the interview with Rare Genetics and see if they've got any involvement in that. If they don't have any involvement in it, then see if there's any way that they could maybe add something, some assistance of some sort. Like I said, I don't know enough about that whole part of it yet, but they can help enforce help enforce the laws and stop poaching for the skins by you know finding out where those skins are coming from so that they can go there and cut them off, and you know what I mean, all that stuff. So that'll be a good topic. Mhm. And this was kind of cool too. This was the show out of Durham, the Show Me Reptile show. I'm just gonna let this play for a second because this is the reason why I couldn't walk for a while. It's also the reason why I decided to get the lav mics, because you can hear the audio and that's just terrible off that shotgun mic right there. Yeah, I just leave that out. You can see old Tigger in there. He was such a sport. He was going in the shed. He was such a good boy. This is the kind of stuff too. Like I said, we've done these presentations at um, for different groups and at parks and stuff like that. But this was the first actual reptile expo um, that I did a presentation like this at, where we just set up and talked about the animals and had them out there. If you guys hadn't seen this, especially if you're thinking about getting one, it's not a bad thing to watch. Um, and I know I'm talking over myself, but uh, I just kind of wanted to put that up there because that's a gorgeous animal. I love that. I love that snake. He is so much fun to work with. But I don't know if every vendor really appreciated us being out there, because one of the things that I was talking about was that, don't just go to these shows and start buying up reticulated pythons because they're cute when they're this long, because this is what you're going to have to manage. And that's what you're going to have to deal with when they get bigger. Um, so I'm sure if any of the more unscrupulous people who are like, dude, just shut up, I'm trying to sell snakes, um, was there, they probably didn't appreciate it. But it went over really well. We had a lot of people that um, really enjoyed talking with us out there. And you can kind of see Danielle in the background there. She actually set up this chart that's behind me right here that kind of shows she's got it chalked out the different enclosure sizes you can kind of see right here. That shows, what you can expect to need to house the animals in. So that's how it started, was just doing that. And we had the speaking engagement come in over top of it, which was really cool. Oh yeah, man. The freaking retics, before you know it. I mean, Monty, my 16-foot female down there, man, it seemed like just yesterday she was hanging out on my arm. I mean, it seemed like she was Chloe's size, and now all of a sudden she's a handful. Yeah, I mean, I am always open to, if people have shows near you, if I can pull it off, then I'm typically more than happy to. I've just got to, like I said, I've got to watch my schedule because I've got a day job that I've got to maintain, and got to watch my finances because we are by no means wealthy here at all. So, which is why I'm still working. So, sometimes I may have to, charge a fee, even if it's just to cover gas and lodging or something like that, if we go out to do some talks and presentations. But I try not to. I don't want to, but I'd rather give somebody the option saying, hey, cool, you cover the gas, I'll come out and talk, as opposed to just shutting everything down, or not paying my electric bill that month so that I can go talk somewhere. So. The only lizard you got's a Gila monster. That's awesome. Gilas are really cool. Yeah, don't have much room left anymore for it. Yeah, tell me about it. I'm trying to figure out where and how I'm going to fit one more 8-foot enclosure in here. And then got a message earlier saying, I've got a royal python. It really needs a home that wasn't coming from a really good spot. I'm like, damn, I don't know where I'm going to put the stuff that I've got when I put this 8-footer in here that I still don't even know if I've got room for it. I cannot wait till I get moved and I can get everything set up to where when somebody says, I've got this animal that needs a home and needs help, then I can immediately say, okay, yeah, I got quarantine. I got an enclosure for it. Bring it. It's going to happen at some point. But, let's see. Tyler said we typically do shows and see, kind of the history of the channel. I started October 2021. And it was just because I've got a lot of experience working with really big constrictors, like, handling and reading their behavior and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it all started. And then I just kind of expanded through everything else that I keep. And after a year or so of doing that, we wanted to start doing some public education stuff. So I started by going out to a park, just calling a park director up and saying, hey, I'd like to go out to this park just by myself, take one of my snakes, set up away from everybody, but, close enough to where they can see it. People can come up and ask questions if they want and stuff like that. And the park director that I was talking to actually had been a museum herpetologist for someplace else, had been their either director of a reptile house or something. And so she linked me up with somebody else who was doing an event. And we ended up I was like, well, if we're going to do an actual event, then, I'll get some other folks out here. So we got Aubrey brought some monitors and some snakes down. Jim and Christina Hill came out. Chris Salisbury came out. And we had a couple other people out there. And apologize for not remembering their names right off the top of my head. But it just went over really well, man. Everybody loved it. And ended up doing a couple more. And now we're to the point where people are contacting us. I had a children's museum contact me with that one show that we did not too long ago, who heard about us from somebody else. Had somebody else contact me about doing one in Indiana here not too long ago. So It just kind of happened. And I'm glad it did too. I'd really like to see it expand. Part of what I want to do once we get moved and get expanded a little bit and get in a little bit more comfortable setting for the animals, I'm hoping that, things pick up a little bit. I can start doing this full time. And then when we do that, then we can start going out and doing a lot more shows and doing a lot more educational stuff. Um, so far we've made a pretty good impact with what we've got here. Excuse me. Now I've got every reason to believe, everybody that we've worked with so far has said, we had a blast. You guys are awesome. And we want you to come back. So we'll be coming back to those and doing some other stuff, but sooner or later I got to ditch the day job so I can focus on this stuff all the time. Oh yeah, I was going to get a real rattlesnake rattle to put on here too, but they were like $50 on Amazon, man. So I didn't. Maybe one of these days. Oh, cool. Yeah, this past year, Abby's really cool. Her and her husband, awesome. They've got an awesome place. We've got some awesome enclosures out there. It was a really good time last time around. So I'm definitely looking forward to going up there. I'm hoping at some point in the next couple years, we can have like a North Carolina Retic Fest. I want to have something set up where I can just say, okay, the end of July or something like that, or over this holiday, come out. We're just going to open the place up and we're all going to do cookout and whatever and hang out. So let's see. It'll get there. Baby steps. As always. Yep. Yeah, I'm really optimistic, man. Like I said, we're going to be, this coming October will be the 3-year mark. And, we're just now kind of cresting the 2-year mark on the channel. So I'm really happy with where it's gone so far, considering we've, considering it's just me working out of my house, part time. So I'm really happy with how everything's gone and how supportive people have been. It's really been awesome. That pretty much brings us up to the last stuff with the with our last couple ones with the new snake there and any Louisiana USARK alerts. So I am gonna pull up though. Let's see. Let me make sure I get caught up on these chats real quick because I'll end up going off the chat screen for just a minute. Actually, I can probably close this altogether. Yeah, guys, there is going to come a time when we'll have some kind of meetings and stuff like that around here where everybody can really hang out. That's awesome. Yeah, oddly enough, I was in Phoenix before I moved out here to North Carolina. So I think it would do really good out there. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Any good subs and share all this stuff and get it out there and get everybody else subscribed. So, we get this channel up to 100, 200,000 subs, and I've got a little bit of actual ad revenue to work with. I'm going to make some things happen. Make some really cool things happen. It's going to be a lot easier for me too, because I've got a project management background, a construction background, and all that other stuff. So, when we finally get set up and a new plot of land and all that stuff where we got space to build out the way we want to, I can run everything myself. And I can stretch $1 all the way around this house. Believe that. So, let's see. Hey, David. How you doing, man? Thank you so much. And the same to you. There you go. All right, brother. I will see you again soon. Good night. Get into the big constrictors. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's yeah, talking about, the big snakes and so forth and how he doesn't have a big snakes yet, but it's such a double-edged sword talking about big snakes, man, because they can be real easy or they can be terrifying. And it all depends. No, a lot of it depends on the person. You can, if you get a snake that's pretty well socialized, you can completely screw it up and make it hate humans. And you can do the alternative too. Sometimes you can get a snake that's really terrified of people and turn it around. And I mean, that's what I did with Tigger. He hated people when I got him. He was 12 feet of kiss my ass, I'm gonna bite you. and and after a month or two, man, of just working with him, he really started to calm down, and he's the puppy dog that he is today. um, Happy New Year, Jennifer. Hope you guys are doing okay out in Sydney. Where are you at there? No, I've seen it. Oh. Yeah, Tyler was talking about Tara's profile picture. I had to scroll back up and see what it was. Be very careful in selecting when the day comes. Yeah, their berms are a lot of fun. Berms throw you curveballs because they can get really huffy, hissy, and all that stuff. But oh yeah, that's right. I needed to come off of here. I can remove this. Don't need that anymore. I'm gonna jump off of here and just upload a couple overlays that kind of shows the channel progress over the last well, since we started. If I can find this. Here we go. Let's see. So I've got lifetime stats. I've got 2023, 2022, 2021. If you guys kind of want to see how the channel's grown, I'm going to go through year by year real quick. And this was the first year I made the channel. 21, I think that's right. I got to take this comment off of there real quick because I can't see nothing. Yep. So I'll get back to here. So yeah, you can see from October to December, that first year that this thing came out, I don't know how many, I didn't count how many videos I had put out, but I mean, we didn't do too bad. We got up, in those first 3 months, hit up to about 400 subs. 28,000 views isn't bad. Not for just starting out in a niche like reptiles. And then the next year in 2022 is when we got monetized. And I think we got monetized. I think it was right at the 6-month mark, if I'm not mistaken. Had hit up an additional 150,000 views and 13 grand, and watch. I put down 2,000 subs in 2022. So that brought us up to about 2.1 thousand. That's 2,600 between 2021 and 2022. And you can see this is typically shorts where those spikes hit. And from the time we got monetized, I don't know exactly where that falls. I think the channel brought in $576 that month, or that year rather. Now something to keep in mind too. When we compare the money that the channel brings in compared to what what goes out on it is I've got, for the first 2 years, I spent about $150 a month between editing software, the um dude, God, what was it? Editing software, the streaming software, and Envato Elements, where I get a lot of copyrighted material and stuff like that from. But of course, you got to pay for that. So I think for that, for this, between 100 and 150 bucks a month. We'll say 100 just to break even on it. Make the math real easy, but you'll see how all that stuff kind of stays in the red over the course of everything. We get up to 2023 this year. Wasn't too bad. It was a big jump up from the previous year. Went from 2,000 subs to in 2022 to 5,000 that we got in 2023. So that was over 100% jump there. 500,000 views this year, 47,000 hours of watch time, and brought in 23 grand. Not 23 grand, 2,300. I wish it was 23 grand. And then if we look at it over lifetime so far, I mean, most of the stuff has happened this year, most of the girls so far. But for all the way from October to today, we're looking at 750,000 views, 62, almost 63,000 hours of watch time, 7,700 subs, and almost 3,000 in revenue for the life of the channel. Now, that part, I need to get that number up from the life of the channel to about every month. If I can get the monthly revenue for the ad revenue and everything on the channel up to, $3,000 a month, that's the point where I'll be able to cover expenses and just start doing this stuff full time. But yeah, just to give you an idea, over the course of that, just over 2 years, I made almost $3,000. We're spending well over $100 a month just on the other software and all that. So, and even if you're looking at, 2.5 years, 30 months, that's $3,000. So we break even just on the subscriptions over that time. Plus, I spent well over $1,000, somewhere between $1,000, $2,000 between cameras, lights, and all that other stuff that we use. Some of the stuff we don't use anymore, but I'd used a couple times and realized that it wasn't worth all the time because people don't need all the bells and whistles if you're just giving out good information. So, but anyway, that's kind of how the channel has gotten to where it is today. And if the same growth rate applies through 2024, we should be doing pretty good. Like I said, what was it, 400 subs the first few months of 21, and then it was 2,000 the following year, picked up 5,000 more the year after that. If all goes well and the numbers kind of stay on the same climb that they've been, maybe 2024 will be a 10,000. Maybe we'll get lucky and get a couple viral videos out there or something like that and just take off. But we shall see. We shall see. I mean, like I said, we keep working on stuff, and the bigger I can get this, the more I can bring in from it, the more I can do. I definitely keep sharing that stuff out there and keep spreading the word. I know some of you have heard me say this before, and a lot of you probably haven't, but I mean, I'm at the point in my life where all of my coolest stories I've already got. The stuff that I used to do, I'm physically not capable of doing anymore. And I'm satisfied. I've been fortunate. I've had a really interesting and an often exciting life. Now I'm 50 years old and I want to chill out. I want to work with animals And that's how I want to ride out the rest of my days, working with animals and helping educate people about them and stuff like that. So literally, you hear people talking about if you're investing money into your hobby, go for it. That's what makes you happy. Well, that's what makes me happy. So moving forward, that's kind of where I see myself sitting until I finally start pushing up daisies. Just sitting back. Everything extra that I got will go into improving the situation for the animals and building a channel and teaching people and stuff like that. Till my body finally decides to give out on me, which will happen one of these days, I'm sure. Hopefully I'll make it another 20 years or so. So we'll see. Hey, so your cousin's a breeder up in Kentucky, Burm's retics. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's the kind of stuff that I tell everybody they need to do, man, especially before before you really jump in with both feet with big snakes, is get mentored by somebody, and get some time working with them. Yeah. Yeah, Burms are pretty awesome. Regular albino. Some retics that make some kind of cantankerous, like cow. I'd say put that up there. Yeah, it's kind of funny because that fella in Tennessee, him and I were talking about that, because it's a pied that he's got, and pieds are notoriously cantankerous. Um, they're not all. There's something about pieds that most of them that I've seen have been pretty spicy. I haven't had every single one of them swing at me, but I've had a couple pieds take swings at me. I'm not entirely sure. Cows, I've never really had a problem with. Um, and again, too, I mean, you can blame it on the morphs and stuff like that, but it has more to do with their um how they're handled, how folks are working with them. So, who's almost at 1,000,000 subs? I wish I was at 1,000,000 subs. The number you was looking at was probably the views. So, yeah, we're 750,000 views, but yeah, we're a long ways from 1,000,000 subs. They said I'm either not entertaining enough or I'm not pretty enough. I don't know. I have to see. Maybe I'll get a boob job. This seems to work on OnlyFans, I guess. What do you think? Let's see. Oh, where we at? We're at. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Oh yeah, we're always moving forward. Where we at? I've only seen. Yeah, I don't remember if can't remember if that one kind of viral bite video that Gianni took. Can't remember if that was a pied or not. I know it was white. I don't know whether it was a full just white snake or, but yeah, that was that was pretty funny. Yeah, you laugh like I'm joking. I'll tell you what, I will say this anywhere. If I had boobs, I'd rule the world. And they're starting to figure it out too. Like I said, you see these people raking in, you know, 10, 20 grand a month off of, God, it's freaking jumping up and down on camera for 15 seconds. 10 grand. 10 grand. Like, really? It's frustrating for those of us that got to work for it. We'll spend all day making a video, the rest of the day friggin' editing it, finally get everything out. We got these years of experience that we're dumping into it, and boobs. That's all we need. It's all we lack. I mean, that's probably why the trans thing is getting so popular, because there's a lot of guys figuring it out. They're like, you know what? This whole being a man thing is too much work. We're just gonna go get some plastic surgery and call it good. Make a whole bunch of money. Not tell anybody. But I digress. Oh man, what did I miss? I could have swore there was something else I wanted to talk about. You guys get any questions? Any comments or anything like that? Ideas for videos that you'd really like to see coming up here in the near future? Because I've got, let's see, okay, today's Saturday. Yeah, so I got Sunday and Monday off now. And I don't really do anything for the holidays. I mean, we sit around, we might, matter of fact, I can't really remember I think the last time I drank was at Retake Fest, be honest with you. And that was, yeah, I think that was right before somebody yelled down from upstairs, "Karma's in the rafters." And then we all get up there kind of halfway loaded and getting this 20-foot snake out of the rafters up there. But so yeah, I stay home and I keep it safe. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually, since you talk about prairie dogs, I gotta freaking show you guys something, because this is primarily a reptile channel, right? I mean, we all know that. Go back in here, and I'm sure some of you may have noticed. Let me see the popular. The only video I've got that's got more than 100,000 views is my prairie dog video from 2 years ago. And I gotta admit, I did a really good job on the green screen and the lighting and the sound effects and all that stuff to make it look like we was out in the prairie. But all of this reptile stuff and the prairie dogs at 103,000 views. And this is something that I was talking about the other day too. The second biggest video is from Florida, where we've got all this stuff. It's like negativity, it just draws so much more attention than anything positive. And it's really kind of sad. The next one up from that is 19,000 views with Nile Monitor. A lot of them are over 10K, which is cool. But I really need to start getting these view counts up. I'd like to see the more positive stuff getting the higher view numbers, but I'll tell you, the negative stuff it gets attention. It always has, and I'm pretty sure it probably always will. I can't remember who it was I was talking with the other day, but it was kind of like back when I was dating. Yeah, you'd go out with somebody a couple times or something, and then you might text, you don't hear anything back. You're like, okay, whatever, they're busy. A couple days later, after about 2 or 3 times of texting, they ghost you. And it's like, okay, yeah, well, if you don't want to talk, no big deal. You just send them a text, say, okay, I guess you don't want to talk. I'm going to go ahead and delete your stuff. Take care. It was nice meeting you. And immediately within 5 minutes, well, you're a pushy asshole. I know. I'm just saying. You don't want to talk. Cool. Peace. So yeah, it's funny. People will completely ignore anything positive for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. One little negative thing, jump on it like a swarm of piranha. And it's that same psychology that applies to social media, YouTube, all that stuff. That's why if you go on there, the grislier the video, the more views there are on it and stuff like that. But kind of funny little comparison, I guess. So glad I'm out of the dating pool and I don't have to worry about that anymore. I need to get back to... Come on. Okay, I guess I'm gonna take the long way there. In there. Ah, stop. Where are we at? Okay. Oh yeah, I see. And if I'm not mistaken, the Poppy, the prairie dog, is the only one that they've got. And I think a lot of the reason why he bonds so close with that one is because prairie dogs are really social. And you're not really supposed to have them by themselves. Yeah, they need to have other prairie dogs to interact with and stuff like that. Um, and I think since that animal's by itself is why they bond the way they do, which is really awesome. Like I'm pretty well bonded with our male prairie dog. He loves me, all kinds of attention all the time. My female, she's got about a 15-second span where she'll tolerate me and then she wants to bite me and kills me. She would be so sweet otherwise. Uh, yeah, we've been on, man, we made it till 11 o'clock, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 3 hours tonight. So I knew we'd be on here for a hot minute. But yeah, it's time to, yeah, I know, right? it's, it's a challenge. It's worth it when you finally get it right, but oh my God, it'll drive you freaking insane while you're looking. But, I don't know. Maybe we'll just have one episode, one Saturday where we just sit around and throw a bunch of philosophy about everything out. Talk about everything and try and offend as many people as we can. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here and figure out what I'm going to be putting together tomorrow and the next day before I got to go back to work. Make sure to keep an eye out. I'll have some videos coming out here in pretty short order. So, so I'm gonna jump off here, man. It was really good talking with all you guys again tonight. If I don't talk to you before then, have an awesome new year. We're gonna make 2024 even better than we did last year. Um, I think there's some pretty good things going to be happening this year. So, yeah, I'm really happy to have a lot of you guys coming right along with us. So, I'm off, and you guys have a good night, and we will see you next time. Take care, guys.